Hello, everyone. Welcome to my week 4 multimedia discussion board on ethical analysis. Today, I will be talking about an ethical dilemma I might face as a public administrator working as a district representative. In this situation, I will be discussing requests for letters of support from local governments or special districts for funding or grants. I will start by briefly explaining the situation and who is involved. Then I will go over my responsibilities in the situation and apply different ethical approaches to analyze it. Lastly, I will explain the decision I would make and why I believe it is the most ethical choice. One ethical dilemma I might face as a public administrator working as a district rep is deciding whether to provide a letter of support for funding or grant requests from local governments, special districts, or nonprofits. These organizations reach out to the senator's office asking for a letter of support to strengthen their applications. The challenge is that multiple organizations in the district often have similar needs, but not all of them request or receive the same level of support. The main stakeholders include the organization requesting the letter of support, the public, and the senator's office. While the requesting organization is trying to improve its chances of receiving funding, other groups may be placed at a disadvantage if they do not receive the same support. In this situation, my duty comes from my role as a public servant and my responsibility to act fairly and in the public interest. From an organizational perspective, I am expected to represent the senator professionally and support constituents, including local government, special districts, and nonprofits. However, I also have a responsibility to make sure I am not showing favoritism or giving unfair advantages to certain organizations over others. I have built strong relationships within the community, which can make people feel more comfortable reaching out and asking for support. While building relationships is an important part of my role, decisions cannot be based solely on those relationships. I also have family members and friends who work in other public sectors, so there may be situations where I need to step back or pass on a request to avoid any potential conflict of interest. My duty includes maintaining fairness, transparency, and integrity in how requests are handled. This means I need to consider whether supporting one organization over others is justified or if it creates unequal access. I also have a responsibility to protect public trust by making sure decisions are not influenced by personal relationships, political pressure, or convenience. Using a virtue based approach, I would think about what the right thing to do is. That means being fair, honest, and not showing favoritism. Even if I have relationships with certain organizations, I would still want to treat everyone equally and not let those relationships influence my decision. Using a principle based approach, I would focus on fairness and equal treatment. As a public administrator, I'm expected to follow ethical standards and make sure I'm not giving special treatment without a valid reason. This also means having a consistent process in place so that all requests are handled the same way. Overall, both approaches emphasize the importance of being fair, unbiased, and making decisions based on ethical standards rather than personal connections. In this situation, my alternative would be to follow a fair and consistent process for all requests instead of automatically supporting one organization. This could include setting clear guidelines or criteria for when letters of support are given so that every agency has the same opportunity. For example, I could review things like their status with the Department of Justice or the Secretary of State to make sure they are in good standing and meet basic requirements. This helps make the decision more objective and not based on personal relationships or pressure.